I'm Keith War, and this is
Myron Nolte.
Myron Nolte. I'm across the street at with this Rotary Park or Manzo, and I found another person who's homeless here in Titusville. It's Friday the 25th. I have that date right today, and Myron's going to tell us a little bit about being homeless. Are you originally from Titusville?
I was born in Detroit, but I've been in Titusville for 25 years.
If you could speak up just a little bit louder, make sure. So you told me you went to Titusville High School.
Yep.
And you graduated year of '97. And what's your primary reason for being homeless?
Basically, me and my wife separated, and she had the house, so I had to go somewhere. I didn't start off being homeless. I was renting efficiency, and I ended up having a child support warrant. They took me to jail for it, and I lost that job, and then of course couldn't pay for my child support or the place I was staying. So I've been homeless for 5 months now.
So, and what about the child support situation that originally got you arrested and led to you losing your job? What's going on with that today?
It's still adding up.
So potentially there could be another warrant out for your arrest, and potentially, but I mean, in a way, it's kind of like you're behind on paying your child support, and then they're going to arrest you. And then they're going to house you, they're going to feed you, they're going to clothe you, they're going to send you to dental, they're going to send you for a medical checkup. So you won't be on the streets, you won't be in the elements, you won't be free to roam anywhere you want, but you will have health care and all the things, and you'll have TV and radio and all this, and a library that you won't get kicked out, that probably never closes. I'm not trying to be funny or sarcastic, but I'm just saying those are some of the realities of owing the child support. I mean, you do owe your children some kind of support and living, and I'm sure you agree with that.
Yeah, I do.
But at the same time, it kind of compounds your problem, because you got arrested in the first place for being behind, and then that caused you to be more behind because you lost the job.
And my license. They suspended my license for it too.
So you had a driver's. So let's say you were a trucker or a taxi driver, you would. I mean, that right there would have just ruined your odds of making a living. And let's say you're making a living wage of $15 to $20, then your only option would be to work at, say, fast food, where you didn't need transportation. What do you need most? I just speak loud.
Really, honestly, a job, but some kind of shelter.
What kind of skills do you have? If somebody were to offer you a job, what can you do?
I've done a lot of things. Paint, drywall, framing. I was a cook for 6 years. I actually cooked right up here in Titusville at the bowling alley for 5 years.
So, is the problem now getting a job basically because you don't have anywhere to stay, so you have no clean clothes to come to work, and you can't come in to clean, and so I guess if somebody gave you a jump start, let's say of a 1 day in a hotel, you'd be able to go to job the very next day because you'd be clean coming from the hotel, but then after that, so you basically there's no starting point.
No. And about 3 weeks ago, everything that I did own got stolen from me. That included my wallet, which had my ID, my social security card. So even to get a job, I got to replace all that somehow.
So, how long ago did the wallet and the ID get stolen?
3 weeks ago.
So that could create another problem for you. Say which a lot of guys tell me their encounters with the police. If you can't produce an ID when they ask for it, not that we live in a Nazi state and they can say, show me your ID, but the reality is they do. Yeah. They're not supposed to, but they do. And so to prove, if you guys want to, you guys are free to go, but yeah, you guys are welcome. Okay, but the problem would be they don't know who you are, so they're probably going to arrest you. They're probably going to take you down, probably going to fingerprint you and all that other business to make sure of who you are. And I don't know what the difference is of knowing your name and not knowing your name. You're still a human being, and then they're going to put you back on the street until the next cop can't identify you. You can't prove who you are. So what is your number one thing you struggle with being homeless?
Finding a place to sleep at night without, getting in more trouble.
Right, because as he and I have spoken for a few minutes before the interview, how it's illegal to be homeless, regardless of what anybody says. There's nowhere, well, because we do live close to the Indian River, if he were to construct some kind of a raft and put it out on the river and float on the river, he would be able to stay there.
Yeah.
You could stay there without the police
That is true.
harassing you. I've noticed too, I was a paramedic, so I can't help but notice physical things with people. I notice you seem to be out in the elements a lot. Your skin is very aged. I would say you're probably in your early 30s, but you look a little more worn than that from being outside. Your teeth, I see, have quite a bit of problems with those. When you were working and stuff, did you have health and dental and vision and all those kinds of things?
I couldn't afford it because they take 55% of my pay for child support right now because I'm behind.
So like most Americans, even though you're working, well, when you were working and you were off the streets, you couldn't really afford to live like a human being or the standard that they say is in this country. So probably your options were, if you got sick or your kids got sick, were to probably go to the emergency room?
Yeah, the kids did have Medicaid, but I didn't qualify for it.
And your kids right now, how old are your kids?
11 and 9.
11 and 9. And if your kids were to see this, do you have anything you'd like to say to your kids?
Just I love them and I miss them.
When's the last time you've seen your kids?
It was like a month ago.
And how did you get to see them?
They were at my mother's house, and I went and stayed the night with them.
So your mom lives here in Titusville?
Yeah.
And your mom knows you're on the street? Have you done some things to your mom that maybe is the reason she won't take you in?
No, it's more. I mean, she lives in a 1-bedroom place and she works all the time. I mean, it's just. I think it's more my pride that I just don't want to live with mom. I mean, I do stay there maybe once a week to shower and stuff like that. I mean, she is there for me.
So mom does the best she can for you, but you don't want to be a burden to her because you're an adult and you have children of your own. And you said you were married. What's the situation with? Is she truly your ex-wife? Have you truly gotten a divorce,
No.
or you're technically still married?
Yeah.
And is she living in the house that you guys built together and raised the kids?
Yeah.
And is there any kind of order of protection or something like that she has that would prevent you? So, is there any chance she would ever take you back under any circumstances?
We've talked about it. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what's going to happen.
So you currently have a drug and alcohol problem.
Yeah.
If you were, say, to be tested for a job right now, would you pass?
Yeah.
So basically, because you haven't had any money to be able to buy anything, you're basically clean without being forced to be clean.
Yeah.
I mean, which, you know, can be a good thing. And I know it's, you know, many people don't understand, you know, those kinds of problems. But then, you know, there are many people that do, or, you know, they have family members that dabble in different things, and sometimes judgments are made, and other times judgments aren't made because they're doing the same thing, or they just don't have an opinion, or, you know. What do you think is the end to all this?
Honestly, I have no idea. I'm trying to just make it day to day right now. There's a place in Melbourne called the CETA Rescue Mission. And they take in homeless people, but I was told there's a 4-month wait list for a bed right now. And as far as resource, that's all I know of.
Yeah, me and some other guys were talking yesterday that Salvation Army used to have a place here in Titusville, but they would only take you in at 10 o'clock at night, and then they made you leave at 5 a.m., and they would let you stay there 3 days within a 90-day period. So you get 12 days off the streets within a year's time. So I guess you could pick Easter, Christmas, your birthday, 4th of July, you know. I'm just being sarcastic, of course, but and do you primarily hang out here at the park during the day when it's light and legal to be here?
Yeah, here or the park down in Cocoa Beach.
And what do you do for money? How do you feed yourself daily?
Ask people for. I don't even ask for money. I ask them if they can buy me a sandwich. It's hard for me. It's really, really hard for me.
I think that strategy is probably best because you remember when you had a home, you know, you think, oh, that guy really don't want to give him $1 because he's probably going to go to booze. So if you ask for a sandwich, you almost feel like, well, you know, your odds are almost better to get a sandwich or an actual thing of food, you know, than to get cash money, which, you know, I understand. And I know for some people who think, well, you know, you can go and collect cans and stuff like that, they don't realize, I think you get about a nickel a pound, and I don't know if you ever carried 30 or 40 pounds for any length of time, but, you know, to cash that in and be handled like a buck is you know, is very defeating. Is there anything that you'd like me or anybody else to know about yourself or others being homeless on the street?
I don't know. It's really it's a tough life, and you know, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words.
Not to put you on the spot, but I did kind of want a, you know, close up of you so that, you know, in case somebody sees you on the street and, you know, they wanted to help you out, they knew what you looked like. You know, you're not, I'm sure you're not looking for a hand out, you're looking for a hand up, you know, and I guess in that way, in some ways you kind of do need a hand out temporarily so that you can fix your situation.
Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you talking to me.
No problem.
All right.